Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharika Giridhari Radha Lalit Madhav Ji ki jai, Radha Bihari Radha Vinod Bihari Radha Nayan Bihari Ji ki jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ji ki jai, Radha Damodar Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Gokulananda Radha Raman Ji ki jai, Krishna Balaram Maharaj ki jai. Nitil Prishta Om Vishnupad Astotra Satyashimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Shri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga ki jai, Paramaraditam Gurupad Padma ki jai, Nitai Gaur Primanande Hari Hari Bo. Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Anandalilamaya Vigrahaya Mavadivicha Visundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Nityananda Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Jannavapataye Namaha Ajanalambita Bhujo Kanakavadato Sankirtanai Kapitaro Kamalaya Vishwambaro Dvijvaro Jugadharma Palo Vande Jagatpriya Karo Karunavataro Kanaka Jaladagatro Nilashonab Janetro Mrigamadavaravalo Malati Kundamala Tarala Taruna Vesho Nilapitam Varesho Smarani Britani Kunje Radhika Krishna Chandro Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhi Tvam Nayamam Charanantike Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadatar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. First of all, my unlimited Dandavad pranams to lotus feet of Srila Gurudeva, Niti Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad, Astotra Satyashimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, my Shiksha Gurudeva Som Vishnupad, Astotra Satyashimad Bhaktivedanta Madhusudan Goswami Maharaj, Shrimati Krishna Priya Thakurani, also all Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga and all dear devotees and guests here in London. We are very happy to see you again. This is just the first program. I've just arrived, jet-lagged. But I'm very happy that this is a very nice group and that you're regularly meeting and you're singing, really nicely singing. I'm impressed with your kirtan skills. And okay, better late than never. Radhe Radhe. So the day after tomorrow will be Guru Purnima and the beginning of Chaturmasya. On Guru Purnima day, everybody celebrates the glories of their Guru. Everybody in India, all schools, all sampradayas. So it's the Guru Day because that's the Advent day of Sri Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva, the initial Guru. So if not for Gurudev, we wouldn't have been able to practice anything spiritual. We would have been in the darkness of ignorance. Sri Guru is the person who has dragged us out and given us transcendental knowledge, Sambandha Jnana, the knowledge of our transcendental relationship with Krishna. So today and tomorrow we'll discuss about the glories of Srila Gurudeva, but I was thinking this is a nice group of devotees. You regularly meet, you hear something, you study Siddhanta. So I was thinking just before Guru Purnima comes, we'll discuss a little bit about the teachings of Srila Gurudev. What Srila Gurudev was teaching Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I don't know if you know the name of the book Vaisnava-siddhanta-mala. Do you know? You know. Have you studied? Little bit. Not in a group? Individually. Okay, it's nice that you know. And I was thinking we will go deeper these days. We can go today and tomorrow into the teachings of Srila Gurudev. The more so that some devotees are just starting, and I know like half of you, I know your names, and I don't know the other half. Your name?
Hari Krishna.
Hari Krishna Das. Naveen. Ramacharan. And Manjula and Shamananda. Nice. So Srila Gurudev was teaching the same message which was brought by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura churned the teachings of the 6 Goswamis. That's why he's called the 7th Goswami. And Srila Bhaktivinoda has synthesized the teaching of the 6 Goswamis. And he presented that in the form of Dashamula, the teachings of 10 roots. Have you studied Dashamula? You have?
In Jaiva Dharma.
In Jaiva Dharma, it's there since starting 12th chapter. And so Dashamula actually comes directly from the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought those principles from the philosophy of Sri Madhvacharya. So Sri Madhvacharya's doctrine was very close to Mahaprabhu, because that is Shuddha Dvaita, means pure dualism. From each of the 4 Sampradaya spiritual schools which were existing before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took 2 principles from each. So from Madhvacharya's Sampradaya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took, first of all, the principle of Dvaita, principle of duality. And worship of Krishna is the second. Worship of Krishna. Because so many Sampradayas, so many other groups were worshipping Lakshmi Narayana. Okay? So I'm like speaking philosophy, and do all of you understand a little bit? Have you read a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Jaiva Dharma? Started? Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavatam? Okay, so this Vaisnava-siddhanta-mala will be very useful, because I was thinking, I didn't have much time to think what to speak of. I was thinking first, okay, let's speak general about Gurudev, and Gurudev's disciples will come. But this year, comparing to previous years, so many new devotees and younger generations. So we need to, create some basis of Mahaprabhu's teachings, to know, very precisely what the teachings of Mahaprabhu are. So in Vaisnava-siddhanta-mala, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura has synthesized the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which are actually coming from Madhvacharya's teachings. Our great Acharya, Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya, Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu Pad, Shri Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu. Okay, don't worry, it's good sound. So he churned the teachings of Mahaprabhu and made conclusions in his Prameya Ratnavali, in his philosophical book Prameya Ratnavali. So he mentioned the 9 truths which were taught by Sri Madhvacharya. Sri Madhva Praha Vishnum Paratamam Akhilam Naya Vidyam Cha Vishwam Satyam Bhedam Cha Jivan Haricharana Jushas Taratamyam Cha Tesham Moksham Vishwangrilabham Tadamala Bachanam Tasya Hetum Pramanam Pratyakshaditrayam Chetupatishati Hari Krishna Chaitanya Chandra. So before Sri Madhvacharya came and Ramanujacharya, you know the acharyas of the four sampradayas, Ramanuja, Madhva, Vishnuswami, Nimbaditya. So before them, there was Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya is the incarnation of Lord Shiva. So Krishna knew that Kali Yuga would come and people would be very disturbed and they would be very sinful. So he sent Lord Shiva to help them. And Shiva came as Shankaracharya to introduce very, very special philosophy of Advaita Vedanta, means non-duality. So that the people of Kali Yuga can have some path. Otherwise, they would have just sunk in sin. And since in Javadharma, you remember Babaji Maharaj is explaining this, since people were not fit to come to pure Vaishnavism, as we know it, means I am the servant of Krishna and I have to be away from this Maya, external potency. I have to serve Krishna and develop my eternal relationship, rasa, with Krishna. So they were not fit because they had no qualities. They were so demoniac. So, as was reproduced by Shankaracharya, Lord Shiva brought specially this philosophy of non-dualism, Advaita. Everything is one. So he was teaching the four Mahavakyas, the four aphorisms. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am the supreme whole, I am non-different from the absolute substance, impersonal substance. Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, yes, you remember, you are that. Pragyanam Brahma, the essence of all knowledge is the knowledge of Brahman. And what's the fourth one? Self-Kalvinam Brahma, everything which be is Brahman. So these four. Actually, these aphorisms are not at all impersonalistic. They just pertain to the absolute truth, but they present it in the way which seems to be impersonal, only seems to be. Actually, it's not impersonal. In fact, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaj wrote an article long ago, and he proved that these four aphorisms are completely personalistic. So later, Sri Ramanujacharya came. Ramanujacharya's conception of Vishuddha Dvaita, means specified monism or purified monism, was first cut under the root of Advaita Vedanta. Then Madhvacharya came, and as you see Madhvacharya, maybe you remember, you can see two fingers he's holding. So strictly two. Shuddha Dvaita means pure dualism. He introduced the 5 differences. You remember which ones? 5 differences. Pancha Bheda, 5 differences. Ishvara Jiva Bheda, the difference between Ishvara, Supreme Lord, and Jiva, individual soul. Jiva Jiva Bheda, 2 individual souls are different. No, we can try to unite with Purushottam. We love each other so much, but we cannot, because he is Jiva, I'm also Jiva. We cannot become, as they say very often in India, everything is one. We cannot do like this. Cannot. Also, Sadhu Maharaj and his computer, Jiva Jada. Jada means material object. Cannot unite, as you can try, but it's not possible. So they're eternally different. Then Jada Jada Beda, this and this, 2 different objects. And Ishvara Jada Beda as well. So the Supreme Lord and material energy, material objects are completely different. So Pancha Beda, or the 5 differences, he introduced very, very strictly. And what else he did is very clear from these 9 principles, which we just quoted as presented by Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu. So these 9 principles are as follows. Srimadva Praha means Srimadvacharya said, Vishnum Paratamam. Vishnu is the supreme truth. Yeah? So very, very concretely he's saying Vishnu means Krishna. Personality, not impersonal Brahman, not, you can call him any name, and any incarnation is the supreme. Lord Shiva may be the supreme, Durga also the supreme. So many conceptions. He said not, Vishnu, very clearly. Shimadva Praha Vishnum Paratamam Akilam Naya Vedyam Che Vishvam. So the object to be known by the study of all the Vedas is Vishnu. Vishnum Paratamam Akilam Naya Vedyam. Then the third one is very, very important. Vishvam Satyam Akilam Naya Vedyam. Vishvam Satyam. Vishvam, this material world is Satyam, is true. Because Mayavadis, which were following Shankaracharya, they are saying Brahman Satyam Jagat Mitya. Brahman is truth and Jagat, or material world, is false. They are saying material world is false. But Madhvacharya is saying here very clearly, that material world is true. It's true, but it's temporary. Temporary, like a dream. Is the dream true or not? What do you think? Dream, true? Temporary, but true. True, because that's the combination of images from our subconsciousness, maybe memories from our past lives, whatever, or past events. Some dreams are serving as indications what will happen to you on this physical plane the following day. Different things, but they're reality, but like subconscious reality, temporarily reality. You can dream of yourself as a king, but that's just your maybe dream or your past or whatever, your past or your future within your mind. But that's true, you know, that's the activities. Those are the activities within your mind. So Vishnum Paratamam Akilam Naivedyam, Vishwam Satyam, number 3. The material world is true. It's very, very important. Then Bhedam Shchajivan. Jivas are different from the Supreme Lord. That's the first assumption here in the 4th point. Different from Lord Vishnu. And the following 2, so number 5. Haricharana Jushas and Taratamyam Chetesham. Haricharana Jushas, one type of the jivas are serving Bhagavan faithfully. In spiritual world, all are serving Bhagavan. And those in material world who have taken the path of bhakti, pure devotional service, they are also faithfully serving as sadhakas, as the candidates for eternal life and spiritual world. And Taratamyam Chetesham, those who are against, they refuse to serve. So they're called conditioned. So jivas can be conditioned or liberated. This is number 6. And moksham vishvangri labhyam. Moksha, or liberation, is finding yourself at the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the thing. So impersonalists of Shankaracharya's school were saying, oh, actually, moksha is impersonal liberation. Sayujya mukti, they were saying. Sayujya means melting. It's never like this. Moksham vishvangri labhyam. Once Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was Nimai Pandit, very, very impudent logician, stopped Gadadhar in the street and challenged him, and he said, hey, tell me, what is mukti? What is mukti? So Gadadhar could not escape that meeting. He could not run away. So I have to say something which is according to common knowledge. And he said, Atyantika dukkhi nivriti iti mukti. Mukti is the complete cessation of all sufferings. That is true. But Mahaprabhu smashed his argument. He said, no, not only that. That is certainly true, but that is not complete. It's just basics. And he said this, Vishnu, what's that? Moksham Vishvangrilabhyam. What he said, according to this phrase by Madhvacharya say, he said, Moksham Vishvangrilabhyam. So liberation means finding yourself at the lotus feet of Vishnu. This is called moksha. Yes? And so this is number 7 out of 9. And okay, so these things, 7 out of 9, were the sambandha. Sambandha means relationship. Yes? Now abhidheya is coming. Abhidheya is coming. That is the process of bhakti. Number 8, tad-amala bhajanam tasya hetum pramanam. Tad-amala bhajanam means pure bhakti, pure devotional service, bhajanam, towards his lotus feet, is the process. And what is the goal? Finally, number 9 is prayojana, or the goal, is perceived, means prema, we know, that's the goal. But it's perceived by the 3 pramanas, by the 3 proofs. Yes? Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Shabda. So these 3 are the sources of all knowledge. So in Jivadharma it said that there are, in principle, 8 or 10 pramanas according to opinions of different schools, but here 3 are given. What are they? Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Shabda. Well, there are different types you can see in Madhurya Kadambini, that book, you can see that. Anyway, in the beginning, Srila Gurudeva is commenting. He's presenting all those pramanas, 8 to 10, I think he's presenting all of them. But 3 of them are most important, and they're mentioned here by Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya. Pratyaksha means direct perception, which is very important. So I can see the fire, that's why. That's fire, right? Seeing means believing. And Anumana means logical inference. If you can see smoke, means there's a fire. But it's not perfect, because senses are imperfect. You can think that it's a fire around the corner, but it may be just smoke without fire, because the firewood is too wet that day. So, which is most important, that is Shabda. Shabda means the words of Vedic scriptures. Shabda means Shabda Brahman. The words by Mahajanas, by Sri Guru, as directly heard, that is the source of real knowledge and the main proof. As you hear, Shabda, that is the main proof. So Shabda is most important out of all. Pratyaksha, Anumana is very important, but Pratyaksha must be confirmed by Shabda. So many people can say, I saw Krishna, and some who are impersonalists may say, oh, I am Krishna, whatever, but it's not confirmed by Shabda. Shabda is saying very, very clearly that Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam Etecham Shakalapam Sa, oh, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, so many proofs Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So unless you hear, unless you find that in Shastra, it cannot be confirmed as your Pratyaksha. So all what is mentioned in Shastra is confirmed by direct experience by perfected soul. So that's why the triangle Guru Sadhu Shastra. So they go together. But Shastra is, as Shabda, most important in this. So then Guru can prove that the words of Shastra are right, because he can see the truth by his own experience. How this Panchabheda, how these 5 types of differences work really, Sri Guru knows, because anything which contradicts those conclusions are completely false. So probably as you were hearing this, since you are sincere readers, you might have noticed that, oh, these 9 points are very much similar to another set of points from Amnaya, sutra of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura, and of his Javadharma, where Dashamula explained the 10 roots. So actually those 10 roots are coming directly from Prameya Ratnavali and coming directly from Madhvacharya's teachings. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given very, very deep emphasis into Achintya Bheda Bheda principle, means inconceivable oneness and difference. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced Achintya Bheda Bheda, everything was reconciled. All possible contradictions were completely reconciled. So, okay, not too heavy. You're still alive? Still? All right. Because I can see your attention. It means that we can. This is like a all of a sudden quite a tough Tattvic class. I didn't really like, especially in my jet-lagged condition. I didn't really plan. But we can continue, all right, with chapter 1, and I can see your live interest. So, questions and answers. Questions and answers, same method as in Javadharma. This is very good because an interested soul puts forward questions and then receiving answers. So, question: What order has our supremely worshipful Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu given to us? What is the order of Sri Chaitanya? His order is that we very carefully follow the instructions concerning the 9 philosophical conclusions that Srimad Madhvacharya passed on to us through the Guru Parampara disciplic succession. That's the main instruction. That's why we took like 20 minutes explaining those 9 orders of Madhvacharya. Okay, especially, who is Krishna? Vishnu, what's that? Moksham Vishwangri Labdhim. That point which was stressed by Mahaprabhu also, although he was still Nimai Pandit, but in the line of bhakti, he explained moksha to Gadadhar in that episode. So when we understand the, live and blissful nature of all those differences, or those bhedas taught by Madhvacharya, and the actually blissful position of the jiva, some of them actually sadly covered by ignorance, and some of them are doing sadhana, and some of them have achieved siddhi or perfection, then we become really, really happy. Happy because Ananda is within the soul. So then we can really feel bliss. So I can see your enthusiasm. I appreciate your attachment to Kirtan and this process and this wonderful, wonderful Siddhanta, which is never dry, always very alive, always filled with rasa, unforgettable taste. So, question, okay, we just discussed these 9 points, so we'll just pass through a little bit. Now chapter 2 already going. Chapter 2, like introduction was simultaneously chapter 1. So, Vishnum Paratamam, the first point. Now, point by point, is being discussed in the subsequent chapters. Who is Bhagavan, the Supreme Person? Question. Answer. Bhagavan, or God, is he who manifests in the individual souls or jivas and all inert matter by dint of his own inconceivable potencies, Achintya Shakti, and then enters within them as the supreme controller, Ishvara Swarupa. Here, everything, already in one sentence, everything is there. So, what is our method? If you're asked by some scholarly person of your sampradaya, what is the method of your sampradaya, Purushottam? What will you say? The method, philosophical method. What is that? That's okay, but more specifically, like Shankarites are saying, Brahma Parinama Vada. Brahma. Parinama means transformation. Parinama. So Brahma, the Supreme Brahman, transformed himself into the jivas and this world, they are saying. And the jivas are the same Brahman, but being transformed into something material. they're saying. But that is quite false, because how can the Supreme Lord, who is actually Brahman, Para-Brahman, can transform himself, and how can he become jivas like this? It's not really possible. Without what? Shakti, absolutely. Yes, energy. So that is why our principle is Shakti Parinama Vada. Vada means the theory, or how to say, doctrine, of the Parinama, or transformation of Shakti energy. So, Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. There's one verse in the Upanishads. He has multifarious energies, but he himself has nothing to do. Natasya Karyam, what's, you remember? Sorry, I cannot. Jet lag day, memory is just done, Drishyate, Drishyate. Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate, Svabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. Out of which those Shaktis, Jnana Bala and Kriya means Chit Shakti, Jiva Shakti, and Maya Shakti are the leading ones. So everything is standing in this world by the dint of transformation of these Shaktis. So Bhagavan is not transforming himself, but when he is situated very, very closely to the Chit Shakti, then all the spiritual manifestation is there, present. Then when Bhagavan is situated very closely to the Maya Shakti, then all material manifestation is produced, how to say, manifest. And when he's situated very, very closely to the Jiva Shakti, then all the multifarious living entities are being produced. So that is our origin. So we are not Bhagavan. We have to know. We come from this process of parinama, or transformation of energy. So when in India, next time you are asked, where are you from? You say, I'm from Tatastha. And that will be true. not mine. It belongs to one British devotee, my god brother, anyway, copyright. But where are you from? I'm from Tatastha. That's true. The Jiva is from Tatastha. It's never Bhagavan covered. Never. So Madhvacharya Prabhu, as well as Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, as well as all of our acharyas, are making this very, very clear point that we are the products of the transformation of Krishna's Jiva Shakti energy, of the living entities, ruling the living entities. So he also transcends all souls and matter in his form as Krishna. So he's higher than everything else. As such, he is far beyond the reach of material intelligence. Not possible. Tarka pratishtan, tarka apratishtan, shrutaya vibhinnam. Sri Yudhishthira Maharaj said this verse. Tarka apratishtan means logic is inconsistent. Logic is apratishtan, means has no grounds. You cannot use logic for understanding the Lord. No? Far beyond the reach of material intelligence. Nasav rishir sagatam na bhinnam. A philosopher is not a philosopher if he cannot beat another philosopher. It's all about boxing, If I can box him down, then I become higher. Then my conception is better. And they are eternally, boxing themselves with their conclusions and their conceptions, but they're all beating around the bush, or beating around the glass jar of nectar, of honey. And they're like those wasps trying to catch honey which is inside, but they have nothing but glass ultimately. So Tarka Pratishtan. So it is he who manifests his own divine, completely spiritual form, composed of eternity, knowledge and bliss, Satchidananda Swarupa. So he is eternally manifest, he's eternally manifest in his eternal Swarup, but by the dint, by the activities of his multifarious energies, material world, pradhana, or the material energy, and jivas, uncountable jivas, manifest, and everything else. So actually, everything Dashamula Tattva is talking about is this triangle. Ishvara, Jiva, Maya. This is all about. Sambandha is all about that. How to understand the relationship between Ishvara, Jiva, and Maya. And the Panchabheda, or the 5 differences, they explain this triangle actually on all sides, the interrelationship. That's in 2 words what it is. And Bhagavan is always transcendental, always above all. And all of his energies are fulfilling his desires, his Ichcha Shakti, otherwise known as Yoga Maya Devi, is arranging everything very wonderfully. So we're very happy we live in the temple of Yoga Maya in Vrindavan. So she organizes all pastimes of Krishna, and she also takes very, very special care of those souls who are willing to become eternal residents of Krishna's abode. So she's taking very special care, very mercifully. So, okay, so just a few words about that. So, Satchidananda Swarup, Parashakti, by the dint of his supreme potency, the Parashakti. So, also very interesting point, very important point here, that he's Satchidananda Swarup, and he manifests his form also by the dint of his potency, Parashakti. So, Krishna wants to manifest himself, his form. Immediately he gives, like, doesn't even give command. Immediately she knows, and she organizes everything, manifests everything according to his will. In the heart of Krishna there's a will, and his Parashakti Yogamaya organizes everything precisely according to his will. How Krishna wants to enjoy, they know better, they know best. Especially the Brijbasis. If Krishna wants to enjoy, Brijbasis immediately serve him in the way he wants. Are residents of Vrindavan serving Krishna in the way they like? No, never. Only in the way Krishna likes. The gopis of Vraj are concerned only with Krishna's happiness, never concerned with their own happiness. That's why they're not dying. They're waiting for Krishna to come from Mathura, then from Dwaraka. Radhayatra has just happened, so Radhayatra, it's all about that. So they're dragging Krishna back to Vrindavan. What I mean to say, they're his Shaktis, all the gopis. And they're dragging him from Dwaraka on the wheels of the chariot of their minds, Manoratha. So that's why you remember that bas relief? The gopis making 8 wheels, yeah? Radha, the chariot has 4 wheels, 8 wheels. So some of them are rolled like the wheels, some of them are lying like the perpendicular bars, and then some of them are standing as the dome, and one of the gopis are up there as their flag, the first part, and the second part of the flag. So Satchidananda Swarup, he's Satchidananda Swarup, and everything which is going around is by the dint of his Parashakti. So in both spiritual manifestation and material manifestation, everything is there by the dint of his Shakti. Recently I had a discussion with one beginning devotee, and she was saying, but this material world is so perfect, so wonderful. I say, yeah, it's wonderful because Mahamaya is very wonderful. Is pure servant of Krishna, Mahamaya, Durga Devi, pure devotee, pure humble devotee, PhD. Yes, so she organized everything here. That's why this world is definitely very wonderful, but the Maya factor is not wonderful. Maya is dragging. What are the functions of Maya? Avaranatmika, prakshipatmika, means covering and dragging down. That's what Maya is doing. So that is, how to say, the really unpleasant factor of this world. Maya is dragging you down, although it's perfect. It's wonderfully perfect. And pure devotees, they see this material world as spiritual world. Once in the morning walk, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was told by his disciple, they said, "Oh, Prabhupada, how wonderful," there was nature around, "how wonderful, it's so good if it was spiritual world." And Prabhupada said, "This is a spiritual world." So pure devotee sees like this. But for us, what to say, forgetful, conditioned jivas, this world is place of suffering. We cannot see Krishna, and how Krishna, by the dint of his multifarious energy, is supporting this world, ruling this world, we cannot really see. So Krishna is the object of devotion of every individual soul. The object of devotion, matter of time. Question: what is the Shakti or potency? So many things were told about Shakti. Now, what is the Shakti? Answer: we're unable to factually describe the Lord's potency because his Shaktis are unlimited, whereas we have limitations. It is for this reason his potency is called Parashakti, literally the supreme potency. What is completely impossible for us is easily performed by the potency of the Lord. So we're present here and we think that we're great actors, builders, we're great doers. No, not at all. We have very, very limited capacity, Shakti. We have very limited. I can, take something, put, turn on, turn off, and then I die. That is it. That's all life is about, human, material body, in this material world. But if Krishna desires something, immediately it happens in the best way. So no need to try to become Krishna, become the Lord of this creation. You'll be beaten very severely by Maya Devi, who is at the god and beats, like Durga Devi, you saw how she destroys demons by many types of weapons, many skulls and all those things. So those guys were very, disobedient. That's why they're reaping the, fruits, the results. This ability or power of Bhagavan to perform that which is impossible is called his agartana pratyasya shakti. We can see, especially from this world, impossible. But for Krishna, nothing is impossible. If there's some impediment, Krishna changes the law, no problem. He changed the law for that time. And he performs that. It's not possible for anyone to dance with young maidens for like one day of Brahma, one night of Brahma. No problem for Krishna. Just, he didn't even blink his eye. That happened automatically. So by dint of his potency, all irreconcilable contradictions are completely, instantaneously, and simultaneously harmonized and manifest within him. So wonderfully said. No? Instantaneously, simultaneously, harmonized.
Which things are harmonized?
Contradictions, irreconcilable.
Yeah.
So this agatana patiyasya shakti means energy which makes possible impossible and impossible possible. So we sing in Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande, as you sang today. You remember that song mentions this Shakti. Agatana vidatra. Please make impossible possible. Who I am, who am I? I'm, John or Peter from this world, and with my history, well, the Lord knows and I know what was there. But the Lord knows from my past, I don't know. Maybe I was a cockroach before and I was suffering, Then my master of that flat I was living in crushed me, under his feet. So terrible events might have happened. But right now, I have the Supreme Master, and the Supreme Master has in his power this agatana patiyasya shakti, means energy which is able to make impossible possible, and I can become a devotee, and I can become even higher than the residents of Vaikuntha, going beyond Vaikuntha. The first book of Srila Gurudeva I read, going beyond Vaikuntha. And your Gurudev, Damodar, he was Bhakta, I was Bhakta. It was 1996. Then he explained. I asked, why beyond Vaikuntha? And he explained why beyond Vaikuntha it was. And then, anyway, so yes, so when we're in touch with Krishna, then nothing is impossible for us. And Srila Gurudev, remembering him, very nice occasion, before his Vyasa Puja, once he was speaking in Australia long ago, and he noticed that the audience was quite materialistic. Those people were thinking of, material wealth and such things, material enjoyment. And some devotees also started practicing, and they're thinking, oh, Krishna will take away my possessions very soon. Not a good perspective. So at the end, Gurudev said, at the end of the class, he said, don't worry, Krishna will break the ceiling and just pour you down with those dollar papers, now notes. He will just be, how to say, abhishekt by money. That's it. So that was like a joke, but actually very, very deep meaning. So whatever you want, Krishna will fulfill. Gurudev was saying, don't worry, you are the associates of the richest person. Krishna is the richest person. And since he's the richest, then we'll have the richest possessions, the richest possession, which is bhakti. Krishna bhakti is the highest asset. So what is Shakti? That was the answer. So in one sentence, if we put what is Shakti, that is the energy of the all-powerful Bhagavan, by which he can harmonize what seems unharmonizable, reconcile which seems unreconcilable, and immediately show that there are no contradictions where one can see possible contradictions. No contradictions. That's why many questions when we study Siddhanta can come. And Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, they reconcile because they know what Bhagavan means by that. So Krishna said many things, and great sages, Shukadeva Goswami and others, they said so many things, and it seems contradictory, but actually no contradictions, because our brain, tarka pratishta, logic is not able to grasp, not, because the sadhus are very mercifully engaging us in understanding by giving some material examples like moon and the shadow and branch and so many types of things. If Shakti is so powerful, the question comes, then is Bhagavan subordinate to this Shakti? Interesting question. Answer. It is not that Bhagavan is one entity and his Shakti is another separate entity. Just as the burning power of fire is inseparable from the fire, similarly Bhagavan's Shakti is inseparable from him. So this answer shows us the great harmony within the personality of Bhagavan. Bhagavan is full of harmony, Sat Chit Ananda, and his Shaktis are functioning in strict accordance with his desire. So whatever Bhagavan desires, immediately Shaktis fulfill. They are not on the same level. Bhagavan is always the possessor of Shaktis. He's always the master of Shaktis. This is tattva, means philosophical truth. From the point of rasa, yes, Krishna, who forgets by the power of his Shakti, who forgets that he is Bhagavan, is fully subordinate to his Shaktis, the gopis. always subordinate. So he worships them, and he's saying, Tavai Vasmi, I'm yours, like this. So he wants her to put her lotus feet on his head, like this. He considers it great happiness. But according to Tattva, everything is very strict. It's not that Bhagavan is one entity and the Shakti is another entity. They are together, and they are fulfilling his desires. The gopis are fulfilling the desires of Krishna, in the best way than anyone else. So many devotees fulfill the desires of Krishna, but the service of the gopis, Krishna remembers how to say, he appreciates best. Ramya Kachidupasanu Vrajavadu Vargyana Kalpita. Now, in this verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained the teachings of Mahaprabhu in full. Srila Gurudeva was also quoting this verse so many times, but since it's a bit different story, we'll just mention, I remember that verse, that line from that verse, Ramya Kachita Pasana Vrajavadu Vargyana Kalpita. So the best service performed to Krishna is from the Vrajavadus, the young brides of Vraj, the Vraja Gopis, and there is no comparison to that service. A question: if Bhagavan is the one and the only supreme truth, then why did Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu give his followers instructions about Sri Krishna and his Shakti or potence? Again, that author of the questions, hypothetical author of the questions, is not able to grasp the difference, inconceivable unity and difference between Bhagavan and his Shakti. So, wait a minute, but Bhagavan is the only supreme truth. So why is Mahaprabhu giving this seemingly, how to say, differentiated, these seemingly differentiated instructions between about Krishna and his Shakti? So many words about Krishna and so many words about Shakti, like differently. So he's interested to know. Answer: Bhagavan has 6 eternal qualities. He possesses all opulences: Aishwarya, strength, virya, fame, yasha, beauty, shri, knowledge, jnana, and renunciation, vairagya. So, Aishwaryasya samagrasya, that verse from Purana, Vishnu Purana, I think, Padma Purana. So, if you can imagine the map, like a scheme, do you remember which of these 6 eternal qualities of Krishna is the highest? Who can say? Shri. Huh? You said sweetness. Beauty. Beauty. So this is Shri. I was thinking you were saying Shri, but actually, so, okay, so you imagine such a scheme, right? On the top we have Shri, right? I didn't take my, what's it called? Charts, my famous charts. No problem. So Shri, or beauty, is on the top. Shri means beauty. So from Shri, there are 3 more qualities coming. Aishwarya, virya, yasha. Aishwarya means opulence, or opulences. Virya means strength, power. And yasha means glory. So these 3 things. So Aishwarya, virya, and yasha from Shri. Yes, fame. Mm-hmm. So from yasha, from this fame or glory, another 2 are coming. Peripheral or external, jnana and vairagya, knowledge and renunciation. So they are not as important as Shri and the 3 other ones. They're peripheral. That's why if Shri Guru possesses jnana and vairagya, knowledge and renunciation, these are also only his peripheral qualities. The main quality of Shri Guru is what? Huh?
Mercy?
No. We'll speak tomorrow. So his realization of Krishna. Yes, and mercy coming from that, but the realization of Krishna is. But his jnana and vairagya have just peripheral qualities, same as in Krishna. So we'll be back with this shloka, you remind me, tomorrow about Shri Guru. So, yes, so that is the answer to the question, why there's a seeming difference between Bhagavan and his Shakti. So Bhagavan possesses these 5 qualities. I'm sorry, 6 qualities. So the various forms of the Lord manifest according to the degree to which these specific qualities are expressed. For example, when his quality of great opulence is prominently manifest, then his form is called the Lord in spiritual sky, Sri Narayana. Okay, so this is the quality of opulence. But the quality of opulence is, how to say, not peripheral, but let's say secondary, yes. So subordinate to Shri, yes. So from Shri, or beauty, three other are coming. Aishwarya, Virya, Yasha. Aishwarya, opulence, Virya, strength, Yasha, glory, or fame.
So these like sub qualities.
Yeah, you can say sub-qualities.
Sub qualities, they're distinct because you say virya, but that's not the same as what's it, bala, strength.
Oh, different names. Different
names, but they're the same. You're describing how all of the six are derived from Shri.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in different, how to say, places you can find. Sometimes it's called Bala, sometimes it's called Virya. So, and when opulence is prominent for Aishwarya, then he's known as Narayana. And when his sweetness is predominating, when Shri is predominating, sweetness, you're right, also sweetness we can say, or beauty predominating, then he is known as Vrajendra Nandana Shyama Sundara Krishna. So Krishna alone is the topmost manifestation of Bhagavan, topmost. Now the most important question and most intricate question, and you must have heard it many times, and I'm sure you will give the right answer. At once, a very challenging question coming from the answer we have just heard. How many forms does the Lord have? Just one. Just one. That is Vrajendra Nandana Shyama Sundara. He has only one form. That form is fully spiritual, supremely beautiful, and attractive to all. It is overflowing with divine bliss, always engaged in activities or leelas, and perceivable by pure love or prema. According to the different natures possessed by different souls, the Lord's eternal form manifests to them in an infinite number of ways. However, the individual souls, according to the particular nature, accept these many different manifestations of the Lord as separate individual forms. The form of Sri Krishna is the eternal blissful form or Svarupa of the Lord. So many religious people, they're right when saying that the Lord is one. And these people tend to become Krishna's devotees. They're closest. All his forms are one, but the great danger is, impersonalism at every step. When I was young, as a devotee, my mother was already strongly Christian, and I was strongly Hare Krishna. So she was arguing with me, and finally my arguments proved to be better. And then, jokingly, she recognized, oh, then your God is better than ours. But she was right in the way that his manifestation, we worship, is closer to the absolute Shri than their manifestation of the Almighty, as they worship him in churches. Also, mostly he's quite impersonal. We don't know who he is, what he does. When I go to him, what will I do? Will I be in the, how to say, cloud but a bit lower? Will I have the nim, which is like less shining, less bright? And what will be my activities with him? Will I do chamara to him or whatever? What will I do? Not known. One devotee, Turkish devotee, was Muslim before, it's all Turks. Before coming to Vrindavan, she went to Mecca. And in Mecca, she was asking questions. The mullahs, she was asking questions. After Hare Krishna, certainly will ask questions. So those mullahs say, don't ask. No, you cannot. So, like this. So, if you have some patience, then we'll finish chapter 2, which is quite long. Anyway, we'll try to finish it today. So, what are the Krishna's pastimes or lila? Answer: the most charming portion of the spiritual world is called Sri Vrindavan. There, Sri Krishna, who is composed of eternality, knowledge, and bliss, is eternally present in the form of divine couples, Shri Radha and Krishna, for the purpose of performing eternal pastimes. When the individual jiva souls manifest their eternal forms of divine bliss, or their eternal svarupa, in the form of Srimati Radhika's maidservants, then they attain the qualification for entering Sri Krishna's eternal pastimes within the all-spiritual abode of Sri Vrindavan. Srimati Radhika is the very personification of supreme bliss. There is not the slightest presence of either fear or death in these pastimes. The only assistant of these activities of Lord or Leela is unbroken spiritual bliss. So this bliss is everywhere. The Leela is everywhere. And you must have heard the story of Gopakumar from Brihad Bhagavatamrita by Srila Sanatana Goswami, where Gopakumar has visited all abodes. He saw his friend Krishna in Lord Narayan. He tried to embrace him, but the gods stopped him. How dare you to be so familiar with our Lord? It's not possible for you, so you have to leave, etc. So Brahman Jana Sharma, when he was traveling, I think that was Jana Sharma, he was, anyway, it's a separate story, too long, we have to get going. So what are the obstacles to the attainment of Krishna's pastimes, or Leela? What obstacles can be? There are two obstacles only. Number one, material intelligence, jara buddhi, and number two, impersonalism. The second one is more dangerous. Jara buddhi, material intelligence.
So we think too much about material.
Yeah.
Or the material way.
Yeah. So we can chant Hare Krishna, we can do all our prescribed duties, but then go, as we're saying, I'm from Lithuania, mushrooming, we can go to the forest, find some mushrooms. That's offline. As a result, you can go to heaven, whatever, if you want material happiness. So this is the impediment called material intelligence, jara buddhi.
Could it also mean like someone who's a genius?
Yeah, if you're too much clever and too much genius, then it's a great impediment for bhakti, because the qualification for bhakti, what is the main qualification for bhakti? Tell me. Sincerity and simplicity. If you're a village devotee, and you can only wash pots, Bhakta pot ki jai. Best bhakta is Bhakta pot, really. He can wash pots, same as Giri. Remember Giri, the servant of Shankaracharya? You remember that story. So Shankaracharya was given. Has everyone heard? Okay, so I'll tell the story. Shankaracharya, who was mentioned today before, had many advanced disciples, very sophisticated, very learned. So he was supposed to start his class, and they gathered to hear from the teacher, but he was delaying, not starting. Oh, Gurudev, maybe it's time to start. No, I'm waiting for Giri. Gurudev, you're waiting for Giri. Yes, I'm waiting for Giri. But Giri is a fool. He's not at all educated. He's not qualified to speak philosophy or to hear philosophy. Why are you waiting for him? He's just on the opposite side of the river washing your clothes. No, I'm waiting for Giri. Before he comes, I will not start. So Giri finally came, sat down, and Shankaracharya started speaking. And he was developing a subject, speaking maybe 20 minutes, and he said, Giri, stand up and continue. And then Giri stood up and continued in such a way that everybody was just stunned with their mouths opened. He was quoting first-class Sanskrit. He was making a conclusion very diligently, everything, first class. Then Shankaracharya pointed his hand like this. See, these are the results of Guru Seva, of service to Sri Guru. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayati girim yat kripata mahamande Sri Guru dirantaranam. The blind man can see the stars. The one who cannot speak properly can become an eloquent speaker, and lame man can climb the mountain. by the mercy of Sri Guru. So that is the qualification for bhakti. And the great impediment, as Prabhu was saying, is the absence of humility, the absence of simplicity. So this, if you're a genius, very dangerous. So geniuses were sent, sincere geniuses, were sent by our Guru Parampara to the kitchen to clean pots. For the beginning, you try yourself as Bhakta pot, then you'll become real genius. So what do you mean by material intelligence? The other question. Material intelligence is that which develops due to the crippling influence of material time, material place, material objects, materialistic desires, materialistic thoughts, and materialistic activities. I was thinking, oh my God, the great cities, London, Warsaw, I've just visited, and I saw those people, and they're all engaged in that, So it means bad is technically in our Hare Krishna context, it's called bad association. So by material intelligence, one sees the transcendental realm of Sri Vrindavan to be a material place. If you associate with materialists, then you see Vrindavan as material place. If you associate with alcoholics, you will see Hare Krishna as another intoxicating type of thing, So you're just high on something, another type of being high. But the Vrindavan, another material place, they think. One sees time to be divided into three parts: past, present, and future. Oh, here you go. Very important point. There is no time in spiritual world, no time. But here, because our consciousness is material, we see past, present, and future. In the past, there was birth. Now there's some life. We have to squeeze the best juice out of it. And in the future was death. In the future. So that's what material intelligence is all about. Are perishable objects the only objects to be perceived? By material intelligence, all of one's inspirations are directed towards hopes for impermanent happiness, such as attainment or the heaven of the heavenly planets. That's all they want to achieve. The real karmas, like Vedic karmas, all the yagyas for the demigods are meant for attaining heavenly planets. Those who are outside of Vedic system, they may strive for heaven, but mostly they're just rough materialists. They don't know even about heaven. So they want it all and have it now, as the song sings. So in this condition, the soul cannot think of anything spiritual, being confined by material thoughts. So like haunted by ghost. If you try to preach to such a person, it's hopeless, because he, violates the rules, full of sins, means his mind is always out of spiritual way of thinking. Like it's not even there, it's not even installed. That program is theoretically installed within, but so much neglected, so much forgotten, that it's not even working, So you cannot, like a drunk man, you cannot preach to a drunk or high man, you cannot preach. So in that same way, a man intoxicated with material consciousness, you really cannot preach. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. That's it. That's true. Because covered, so much covered. So when the seed is covered by stones and many types of stuff, it's not interested in growing, because no possibility. Such souls imagine the duty, in quotes, to be temporary activities such as the development of civilization, morality, science, industry, and the increase of material prosperity. For what? For death, and they know, but they cannot recognize. They are suppressing death to the utmost. They don't want to accept that it comes, and when it comes, then they wear black, and they cry, and the week passes, and they forget, and they again take up the old ways. They forget about death. They go drink to forget about death. And then again it comes, and they try to forget. So what is most, same question to Maharaj Yudhishthir from Yaksha, and he said, the most amazing, Kim Aishcharyam, what is most amazing? The most amazing thing is that even everybody around is dying, a person thinks, I will never die. That is most amazing. So from Mahabharata, what's the Dharma Kunda from that story? So that was the first impediment. And the second impediment was just much more ferocious, impersonalism. So what is the impersonalism, or nirvishesha buddhi? Answer: that nature by which one recognizes the distinct varieties within this world is called vishesha. The tendency towards impersonalism that arises when the materialistic thought process is rejected, along with its concomitant power of discrimination, is called nirvishesha buddhi. Okay, so we see so many objects in this world. We want to explore and we want to enjoy, and we divide. That's why. This is good for enjoyment. This is not very good for enjoyment. This is good for playing. This is not very good for playing, etc. So we divide. And in personalists, they say, stop dividing. Everything is one. Everything is one. So
The rotten mangoes on the train.
rotten mango, no problem. No problem. It's all everything is one. So anyway, it sounds anecdotic, but so they declare war to Vishesha. And if they see any Vishesha, means any differentiality, they say it's false. So they negate. Yeah, so no power of discrimination. So they, there's a saying, to throw the baby with the water. So that's what they're doing, like constantly they're doing. To throw, everything throw, including the baby. Oh my God, it's too rough. So such people are then unable to differentiate between objects, the bath and the baby and the water. So throw everything. So throw everything, but okay, don't throw the money, because you can use for Krishna. Otherwise, throw everything, throw it. But they throw. Prabhupada Swami Maharaj was saying, if I found $1,000 in the street, I would buy something for Krishna, or immediately, you can give me, he was saying, you can give me all the money of the earth. I will engage them in Krishna consciousness. Impersonal is saying false. Rejects everything. So throwing baby with the bath, with the water. So, and they eventually think themselves as having attained emancipation, nirvana, or having merged with the impersonal Brahma Jyoti effulgence. It's not possible to do. You can sit there for ages, and it is Ananda, Brahmananda. But Srila Rupa Goswami, I have that shlok back in my book. Srila Rupa Goswami said in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, if we take all the span of Brahma's life and summarize all of the days of his life, which is huge number, that day, that amount, if the bliss of Brahman is multiplied by that amount of the days in the life of Lord Brahma, will not equal to the amount of bliss a bhakti experiences, a devotee. So in this condition, there is no real happiness. So they can sit there for forever, because no time, until a great devotee like Narada Muni comes and picks them up, and then they will be devotees, really, because they're Paramahamsas, but they are rejecting Krishna's form and they reject rasa. That's why they are called, Swami Prabhupada was calling them dry speculators, actually. And they hang out there in the bliss of Brahman, of the emptiness, for unconsiderable time, because there's no time. But this is actually spiritual suicide, actually. It's hard for them to recognize, they cannot see. But for us devotees, it is really spiritual suicide. Due to an absence of spiritual bliss, prema. So no prema there. There's ananda, but no prema. Devotional service is hidden from them. So you perceive the rays of the sun, again, material example, but helpful. You perceive the bliss of the rays of the sun, but that bliss is not prema. It's Brahmananda. Brahma, what's that? Advaita Siddhi. It means perfection of non-dualism. But there's no talk about prema, not even hint. That's why they are not happy, but they think they are. Even though the pastimes of Krishna are beyond matter, they're not devoid of variety. Rather, they're full of spiritual variegation. Question. If the pastimes of Krishna are beyond matter, then how were they able to be seen at the end of Dwapara Yuga, when Krishna came here? So this author of the questions are still having so much impersonalistic concept, like as if impersonalistic conception. So how could they be seen if Krishna is beyond matter? Because beyond matter means like void, as if. But actually not. Answer. The pastimes of Krishna are imperceivable to the material senses. However, by Sri Krishna's inconceivable potency, his transcendental and non-material activities are also able to manifest within the material world. Even though Krishna's pastimes are manifested within the material world, they never blend with matter or become subject to the rules of matter. Whether manifest within the material world, Prakata Lila, or within the spiritual world, Aprakat Lila, the pastimes of Krishna are always purely spiritual. All the pastimes of Krishna are performed in Sri Vrindavan, the spiritual world. Even so, by the inconceivable potency and limitless mercy of Sri Krishna, those same pastimes appear within this material world and also within the hearts of the pure Jiva souls. So this part is very important, in the hearts of Jiva souls. Jiva soul has the chance to be perceiving eternal pastimes of Krishna within their hearts. And that is great asset, great advantage. Yet people with materialistic consciousness are unable to properly realize the completely spiritual nature of these pastimes of Sri Krishna when they are manifested in the material world. Instead, they understand them as materialistic activities, throwing baby with the water. Also materialistic. Oh, Krishna, Mayavadi Krishna Parati. That's why Mahaprabhu was saying they're the offenders because they see Krishna's pastimes as material, manifested from Sattva Guna. That's what they're thinking. Terrible offense. Sattva Guna means material quality of goodness. The Brahman becomes visible for us. Like he gives us a hand like this, he plays with us like Krishna. Terrible. Krishna's body is never material, but they're saying that's why. That's the main point why they're offenses. Not even Maya theory, this world is false, okay, this is, okay. Like, also not terrible, but more or less all right. But Krishna is material, that is already. Totally disqualifies all the theory. See what heavy blow Sri Madhvacharya has given to all the Advaita Siddhi conception. Yes, as material, yes. And try to analyze them with the help of mundane logic and arguments. So they are, okay, trying to explain, oh, Krishna's pastimes, what that is, by the material qualities, logic, which is not possible. The result of this is that they are cheated and they see so many faults within those transcendental pastimes. Oh God, they start criticizing Krishna even. Whoever becomes freed from materialistic consciousness, as were Jagai and Madai, Jagai and Madai, will be able to factually understand these truths. So Jagai and Madai were simple. They were not Mayavadis. They were not yogis or any type of impersonalists. They were just sinners, let's say. Actually, they were great gods of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijay. That's the prehistory. So those simple souls like Jagai and Madai will be able to factually understand those truths. Seeing the Lord's pastimes as being completely free from any touch of material inebriety, such fortunate souls become attracted to them. Without understanding the truth about Sri Krishna, one cannot relish rasa, or the taste of service to him. Yeah, so we have to understand that sometimes people say, you're very, prepared audience. But sometimes people, when they hear these things, they sleep. Why? Because they think, oh, it's too dry. Never dry. It's full of rasa, but that's the basement of the building. Foundation. The foundation. So without the foundation, the great opulent palace will never be built unless you have the foundation. Foundation is also rasic. Don't say foundation is not rasic. It's permeated to the rasa, but certainly everybody is looking at the domes and the beautiful decorations and the windows and everything, even the gardens around, and but not the basement. What's that foundation? They forget. But on the foundation, the great palace of rasa is standing. That's why it's so important for us to know. Question: these truths of Krishna are available only within the religious principles of the Vaishnavas. What will be the destination of those who follow another religion? Yeah, so many religions, and here are the Vaishnavas. So what is the destination of the other poor darlings? Well, where will they go? Answer: the instructions available within different religions for the worship of Ishvara, the supreme controller, Paramatma, the localized supersoul in the heart, or Brahman, the all-pervading impersonal feature, which is the effulgence of his body, ultimately have Krishna as the final goal. By gradual development, the jivas will evolve and eventually attain bhakti to Sri Krishna. When these partial religions paths attain completeness, they transform into bhakti to Sri Krishna. For the jiva, supreme knowledge means expertise in Krishna Tattva. So those who were studying Bhagavad Gita, you must remember yoga ladder. So the actually 18 yogas explained in Gita, in each chapter, one yoga. But there are 4 in principle: karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, bhakti yoga. So those who are sincerely engaging in karma yoga, they will become devotees. Even Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is calling karma yoga Krishna consciousness, to simplify. He is calling his 5th chapter of Gita as it is, as karma yoga, activities in Krishna consciousness. Karma yoga, Krishna consciousness, that's it. So when you become bhakta, you engage your engagements for skills. For example, you were a driver, like professional driver. You become bhakta driver. You can transport books. You can transport maharajas, etc. For the temple, whatever, building materials. Now you're bhakta, so you're karma yogi, very good karma yogi, and you're practically engaging in bhakti yoga.
How is that different from like doing dedicated guru seva?
Well, the dedicated guru seva may involve driving. Yes. That is technically called Aropa Siddha Bhakti. Have you heard Aropa Siddha Bhakti? Aropa means label. So when you're driver, you take up Hare Krishna practice, you become Bhakta driver. You engage what you can in the service. Then you go towards Sangha Siddha Bhakti. You engage with pure devotees. You hear the discussion of pure devotees. You see how the sadhakas, the ordinary devotees, they serve sadhu, and you become one of them. So that is called Sangha Siddha Bhakti. Back in 2003, I think Gurudeva was in Holland, and there was a big sports hall. The old programs were there in De Glint, you remember. So big windows. And Gurudeva was saying, oh, anyone can look in here and say, oh, how many pure devotees? But actually pure devotees are 1, 2 here. So all others are following. Gurudeva was saying, who is walking Vrajamandala Parikrama? 1 person walking. Guru is walking. All others are walking behind in his footsteps. So that's why we're teaching. We're learning. We're learning how to walk, how to talk, how to practice, how to preach, how to do everything, how to wash pots and drive car even. So, and then Swarupa Siddha Bhakti will come, or Bhakti proper. That is engagement in those 64 types of devotional service, explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And certainly pure devotee, he or she, always in Swarup. That's why such a person automatically practices Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. But what we can do, we can pass through these introductory stages of Aropa Siddha Bhakti and Sangha Siddha Bhakti, becomes Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. But chanting, hearing, remembering, most important. So gradual development, yeah, that's gradual development. So chanting is most important limb of devotional service, as you know. Taramadi Sarvasreshta Nama Sankirtan. And even if you perform that chanting in Tamaguna without any knowledge, it's perfect. It's good because it's Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. In Tamaguna, but no problem. It's Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. You chant. And if you do any activity, like looking after cows and building something, and without chanting, without properly following Bhakti, that will be karma. That will be just karma. That will be Aropa Siddha Bhakti, maybe. Okay, I'm engaging that, but I don't give too much attention, much enough attention for chanting. That's why that person will not develop. But mother who took up chanting because the son is on drugs, you know, and chanting, praying for Krishna, "Oh, please help me, help him." It's but in Tamaguna, but it's perfect because the goal is material, no problem. It will become spiritual. What's it? Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogina yajeta purusham param. Whatever you do in bhakti, you want material enjoyment, you want liberation, you don't want any material enjoyment or liberation. Yajata Purusham Param, still you worship Purusha. That's perfect. That's it. End of chapter 2. Shri Vaisnava-siddhanta-mala ki jai, Srila Gurudeva ki jai. Thank you very much for your attention. If there are any questions, please ask. And yes.
Question. So you were speaking about Bhakti Yoga and the difference between that and Karma Yoga.
Yeah.
You've got to do material activities such as go to work. How do you upscale that in such a way for it to become not just Karma Yoga but Bhakti?
Yeah, very good question. Well, actually, it's a question about the first stage of Aropa Siddha Bhakti. Or Karma Yoga, anyway. We can call it Karma Yoga. We can, more technically, from the point of view of Bhakti, we can call it Aropa Siddha Bhakti. So you go to work, for example, you're an engineer or something, and now you become Bhakti engineer. So the more you think about Krishna, the more you dedicate your activities to Krishna, the more Bhakta you are. The closer to Swarupa Siddha Bhakti you are. When your guru sees you're mature, then your guru will say, okay, now you perform some other activity not related to your job. For example, you become an artist or you do anything else. You become a cook and you distribute prasad or anything else. Because that bhakti is not really attached to his engineer job as an engineer. It may be nothing. It may nothing to do anymore with the engagement in Krishna's service. For example, an engineer may be needed for building a temple or some project, but it doesn't really matter anymore for that devotee. Any sort of activities that devotee will, like Maharaj Ambarisha was engaged in all activities of bhakti, all 64 he was doing. By his hands he was washing he's a king, he's supposed to sit on the throne. No, with a rag in hand he was cleaning the temple, sweeping, doing everything. Maharaj Prataparudra, yes, the servant of Jagannath, king of Puri, he was sweeping in front of the chariot. So he was already actually so close to Swarup Siddha, actually Swarup Siddha Bhakti. As another thing, technically Swarupa Siddha Bhakti means that you're engaging in 64 limbs. But for example, book distribution is outside of 64. Then driving is outside of 64. But if you are so close to your guru, that you are like limb of your guru, then no matter what you do, you can distribute books, you can drive car, you can work all day at some factory, Your guru sevak, that's why no matter what you do. Because your guru is in his svarupa and you're closer to the svarupa, spiritual body, of your guru, no matter what you do. Forget about activities. Because you are with your guru 24 hours.
It's the consciousness rather than the actual activity.
That's the closeness to Sri Guru. That's the key. That's what we're, leading towards just before Guru Purnima Day. That's great, amazing world of Guru Seva. If your Guru is perfect, if your Guru is Uttama, Diksha, Shiksha, no matter, then it's just another dimension. And just forget about activities. Now we're so much concerned with activities and conditions, and we go to India and we first go through cultural shock all those things, because we're very much into the facilities, conditions of material world. But as we grow in our consciousness, then okay, I can live under staircase, I can live anywhere, the bank of the river, under the tree, no problem. Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were having just kopin and maybe in the cold season one chadar, that's it, and some chickpea or whatever anyone gives, or some chach, some, sour milk. They were not concerned. Why? Because not interested. Materialists are saying, you give him Bhagavad Gita or some, small book like Nitya Dharma, they say, not interested. But Sad Goswamis, the 6 Goswamis, not interested in the material way of life. That's it. So this karma yoga, as Didi clearly, nicely mentioned, karma yoga, or dovetailing, dedicating your activities toward Krishna, is the bridge. As you walk to the other side, then you're very close. Then you forget about the bridge, and maybe you were having so much discomfort on the bridge. There was wind blowing. It was very cold, and maybe the road was very bad, or there were some gaps in the bridge you had to jump or something. But then, okay, you're on the other side. You forget about the bridge, and the closer you're to the other side, even the bridges. If the bridge is not so comfortable to cross, to walk on, you just don't pay attention. You walk through, you pass like this. So it's a great exam for us. We have to pass now. ठीक है?
So can we conclude that therefore that's why Vaisnava Dharma is prescribed, so we can actually engage according to qualities, for example, in Srila Bhakti, and that is pretty much the platform. Otherwise, without following those principles, then it wouldn't be possible.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Arop is great. Varnashram is great. We have to actually, as Yador Pro very nicely mentioned, we have to be following Varnashram very nicely. Not that, sannyasa ashram, then grihastha ashram, etc., such things. Very nicely follow. Then that's what's that called? Hygiene. When you follow the hygiene, you do toothbrushing every morning, a nice smell coming. You look paka, very good. And then you can practice nicely. Do cleaning, do all the necessary activities. The external, but very, very important. Sometimes we forget about externals. We forget about Varnashram. We do gopi, and we become goopy. It means that little insect shining. Yeah, and that's it. So we should not neglect Varnashram. Divorce everywhere. Gurudev's criticizing those bogus disciples. How many wives have you changed? How elastic can you be? Gurudev was saying, like, elderly gentleman already, was coming to, Gaur Govinda Maharaj, Mr. Dog and Mr. Hog. Like 55-year-olds, two 55-year-olds, brought the young brides, like 18, 20 years of age, like the daughters, granddaughters. Gaur Maharaj, oh, the great circus show today, Mr. Dog and Mr. Hog. And Gurudev was saying, in such situation, Gurudev was saying that, oh, means all life that person was so lusty. Nothing but lust. Anyway, Guru is endlessly merciful, certainly. Mukam karoti vachalam. Anyone can become perfect by the grace of Sri Guru, like Jagai Madai, like prostitute in Haridas, just like this. Sadhu once. When I took sannyas, another boy took sannyas, 23-year-old. Gurudev said, I want to see a sannyas, yes, before I go. Another devotee, he was nice, brahmachari, everything, but he disappeared. Just disappeared. Then some rumors came, oh, he was doing this, he was doing that. And he returned, first in white, then I can see he's in saffron. Then Gurudev was telling him, oh, I want to help you in spiritual life. I want to give you sannyas. Everybody's freaking out. What's going on? What is a sannyas? Gurudev's will. But that's like, okay, social position. But spiritually also, sannyas is a great, great support for that. Certainly it was battle commission in Gurudev's case. In other sanghas, it would never happen, to those like people like me, for example. But I mean, in such a way, I'm just showing on material example, the Varnashrama example, okay, give sannyas, but even when Jana Sharma, the Brahman, disciple of Gopakumar, was not so much witty, was not so much intelligent, Gopakumar did what? He just put hand on his head at the end of Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and he became friend of Krishna immediately, same as his guru. And he ran to Krishna, he achieved his Swarup. By the dint of mercy, Bhagavat Prasad Kripa, Bhagavat Prasadaja Kripa, that's called. So immediately, that's famous verse, Gopakumar, give mercy to the Brahman Jana Sharma, and the culmination of Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And immediately, impossible becomes possible by dint of Gurudev's mercy. So already, so many wonders have happened to us. Where were we 10 years ago, 20 years ago? What was that life about? And now? Aspiring sadhus, isn't it? So that's by the great mercy. We're in the land of mercy. Everything consists of mercy here. So we have just to, take up the humble position and be very, very ardent and patient and sincere seekers of mercy. It's all about mercy. Mercy must come. Without mercy, nothing is possible. Okay, Hare Krishna. Ananta Prabhu.
You mentioned that we're not doing much like in real life. So, who is doing with us in our life? The three modes of material nature, or when we become devotees? And like we couldn't do much, that we are under influence.
Our capacity is limited, but if you become surrendered to Guru, which is the top manifestation of humility, then Guru will do the rest. Like become the properly situated passenger of the ship. Harinama Nauka Dhari, Shri Guru Kandari, Shri Guru Kandari. We can sing the song at the end. So Shri Guru is the helmsman, and he knows the way, and he will bring the boat to the destination. We don't know the way. But like if you're a passenger, then you have faith. Like this morning, your servant was like in an overslept, underslept condition on the plane, and I was chanting, I was just dropping off, and the plane was flying 2.5 hours. Oops, I'm in England already. Overslept, the whole journey, didn't do nothing. But I was trying to be a nice passenger. Don't make make a scandal. Don't do anything. Don't protest. Don't get drunk. Don't do anything. Just be nice man. Just follow everything nicely. That was it. Just follow like our Shiksha gurus. Sripad Madhusudan Maharaj. Yes, his nice saying. Just be normal. Be normal. Be normal. Just don't become genius. Don't become debauchee also. Don't become an offliner. Don't become a mushroomer. Just be normal. Normal. Human behavior. Back to pot. Cleaning pots. Don't become over intelligent. Don't become over stupid also. No excesses. No, what's that? Deviations. But just be on line, in this line. And very, very nicely. Become nice passenger. The plane will bring you to destination automatically. So you just support the team, Clap and sing Hare Krishna, and peel some kratoshka, potatoes. Potatoes. Good. Back to pot, but back to pot, yes. Back to cook. So back to peeler. Okay. Hare Krishna. So since it's already 8:45, alas, we're in material time. So you want to sing this? Kejabe Kejabe Bye? Can you sing? Try. Because I sang my song. You didn't sing your song. You find the page, please.
$73.
Fell off. Que jabe jabire ba Danya Kali Yuge Ache Danya Jai Ho. Okay, Bhagavad Prasadam ki. So tomorrow, if you want, and if you can, we can go on Nagara Sankirtana. Sometime we decide when we can go, and then 6 o'clock there will be program. We'll discuss. Hare Krishna. So tomorrow broadcast again at 7 GMT.
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura Maharaj ki.